All right, we are live. And let's just wait for people to tune in. We'll wait for the arrows and people to tune in. And I'm sure Brother Anthony is doing the intros. Let's see what we've got going on here. All right. Let's look at what's going on here. All right. We got person tuned in. Are we going to start getting into this as people are starting to log in? Big up Simply Auto 757. Peace to Carlos Mercado.
Big ups.
Peace to Travis.
Big ups, Travis.
Travaris. Big up Ogun Ra. Yes, I. Big up Travaris Ogun Ra. A serious name, man. Big up. As people are tuning in. Top of the deity. Bless up. Love plus art equals wellness. Bless up to you. See people are starting to tune in to get this monetary ism that we like to drop every Wednesday. Give people a little bit more time to tune in. Brother Anthony, Sankofa Radio listeners, big up to you all. Brother Anthony, you there? I think your mic is muted, Brother Anthony. Want to make sure that you're getting everything, and the beloved Sankofa Radio listeners are able to hear everything that's going on as well. So I don't have to necessarily repeat myself. Tara T, big up. Tara T. Is this Tara from United Arab Emirates? Who is helping set up the London lecture? Is that Tara? Is that you, Tara? You can reply. That is Tara. Big up to the good sister.
Big ups, Tara.
Yeah, man. Got a nice audience, man, that tunes in regularly. And I
They up early.
Yeah.
They want this food. Can we explain to them what happened Monday? I don't want anybody to be we missed anything.
Yeah. So really what happened Monday was a big technical difficulty. So what happened was on Sunday night, there's some children who live on my street who started playing with fireworks. I guess they had leftover fireworks from July the 4th. And they blew out one of the wires for my internet connection with my ISP. And so I had no internet in my house for about 16 hours. So I'm able to have data on the phone, but where I live in a very rural place. And so the data is not the best to be able to do a show. So I had to cancel the show until we could fix the wires. And so the wires got fixed, and so that's why we're on live now. But literally, it was a technical difficulty that was just beyond my control. The wires got fried with fireworks. So, yeah, Monday's show had to be sacrificed, but we'll pick up today. Big up to Trinity. Why not Trinity? Shouting us out. From Red Pill, myself. Big up to y'all. I think we've cultivated a nice audience. Okay, that's not Tara from Abu Dhabi. That is another Tara from Canada. Big up to you, same way, And Just Joy, big up to you, same way. All right. Someone said Mercury retrograde is retrograding. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, they just literally And I was out, like I literally saw them shooting the fireworks and these big bangs, and it was just really close to the wires.
Yeah.
You know, and someone asked, "Are we going to stay here?" Yeah. So we're not talking about health today, so we're going to stay on these channels. When we talk about health, we transition over.
Yeah. I'm gonna try my best to get y'all something that we could upload on a Patreon. It'll be dealing with some type of wealth talk. I'll see what we could put together, y'all. However, like somebody in the audience said, the retrograde is retrograding, and it is what it is. But we're here now, and that's all that matters. And I want to say, welcome to everyone on this beautiful July afternoon. And get your pens and pads ready and prepare to have some talks about wealth. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Something that we all aspire to have.
Absolutely, and we're at a very interesting moment right now, and I'm going to show people where some options plays are about to be triggered. I'm about to show people. I'm going to show you all what that looks like. Those of you all who are into technical analysis and charts and like how you get in, when you get in, all of that, I'm about to show you all. This is going to be free game for everybody. Okay. So where we're at right now, and the market's going to open in the next 20 minutes or so. And I'm about to show you all how I'm about to position myself, and it's going to be beautiful. As the beloved Loaded Luck says in Battle Rap, y'all gonna love it. So y'all gonna love it, man. And I'm about to show y'all this, and this is absolutely perfect what I'm seeing in terms of the setup. And I'm gonna share with y'all what I'm about to do. All right, so I think what I can do is, all right, and this is the beauty of the approach that we're taking, which is the dollar cost averaging approach. And let me just make sure that I get my DCA calculator and Grok set up correctly. And we're going to get started, y'all. As usual, we're here to bring value to you every single time that we broadcast. And I hope that we're doing something quite different than any other platforms that you all are typically going to, and that we're showing you real results and real, a lot of this is not just theory, it's actually steps that are being taken to build wealth. And you're watching it happen in real time because there's a new iteration for an opportunity in the AI space, right? Every maybe 10, 15 years, there's an opportunity that is outsized. As I always say, the 1920s, the automobiles. Then you had, we can forward to the information technology with Google as a leader. You could then start looking at Amazon in terms of making the retail space more internet heavy. Then you can talk about electric vehicles. You can talk about microchips with NVIDIA. You get these opportunities once or twice in a generation. These opportunities are opportunities of high growth industries based on a new technology that's going to transform the world. We're here right now with AI. What that means is that you're going to see explosive growth in that field, and you have to just pick the winners, stick with them, and dollar cost average. This is the safest and easiest way to build wealth, is to identify the opportunity within your generation, pick the leaders, and start dollar cost averaging. This is really it. I mean, if I could just put investing in a nutshell, that would be it. Everything else, we're using technical analysis and, fundamental analysis, which is like the news. Technical analysis is reading charts. Taught myself to read the charts very well. To many people, charts look like a foreign language, but once you understand it, it's actually a very beautiful language. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show y'all the opportunity that's existing right now for us to get into these charts. And of course, my um, subscribers are going to see the picks that I'm going to take. But those of you all who are not my subscribers, you're about to get like some real inside information in terms of how I do what I do today. So hopefully this will be educational for you all. Brother Anthony in Sankofa Radio, I know that we're broadcasting. I just want to make sure, Brother Anthony, you can hear us.
Yeah, man, I
There we
can
go.
hear you. I can hear you loud and clear, my brother. We can hear you on our end. What's up, brother Red Pill? How are you, my man?
Peace, brother Anthony. All is well. I like that hat, man. I have to.
Hey, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I got to send you one.
Yes. That red is standing out to me. It's talking to me, man. Indeed.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Sankofa Radio family. Salute.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what I want to do, just in terms of my housekeeping, for the people who have been asking, sending emails about the London lecture. Yes, the London lecture is on and popping. It will be happening on the 11th of Saturday, on Saturday, the 11th of July, and I'm going to share the flyer here real quick. I'm gonna let y'all know that I've been informed by the promoters, the folks who are bringing me there and putting the lecture together for the community in London. It's sold out. All the tickets are sold out. At least all the online tickets are sold out. And I spoke to the organizer 2 days ago. They will be allowing people to buy tickets at the door. And he's basically saying that the information is so important. He's going to allow people to come in until the venue says people can't come in terms of like fire hazard type thing. So it's already expected to be standing room only. This is the flyer, as you will see, 3 days remaining. Global Legacy Builders presents the path to eradicating cancer and autoimmune diseases with yours truly, myself, Heru Oforiata, illness reversal engineer. And we're going to be not only dealing with cancer and autoimmune diseases, but while I'm in England, I figured let's just cover the main things that are killing people, which is heart disease, diabetes, kidney failure, and so forth and so on. So we're going to cover those as well. We're going to be going over scientific studies. We're going to be going over the side effects of your medications. We're going to be looking at testimonials of people who've used our approach at Herbal Results, who've gotten reversals of these diseases. And then we'll also have protocols for you in terms of what you need to do, the supplements you need to take, the dietary recommendations, and so forth and so on. And as I say, just follow our protocol for 30 days and then thank me later. Okay? So, you start with your 30 days and you start seeing a difference. And you can make it a lifestyle type of intervention where you just change how you eat and the supplements that you take on a regular basis. And so we found this to be very effective in addressing these illnesses. And so the venue will be Doubletree Hotel. It will be Doubletree by Hilton in London and Kensington, 100 Cromwell Road, London, SW7 4ER. We're going to start at noon. Doors open at 11:30, and we're going to be going from noon to 6 p.m. And I will be really doing a rigorous review of all of the scientific literature, getting people comfortable with the science surrounding medicine and surrounding health, and making people really know the methodology that I use and be able to replicate my results so that you don't have to come and ask me questions all the time. You know how to go get the answers, right? I don't want to be your personal health chat GPT, right? Because most of these questions that you're asking me, you can find the answers online. And I know people are asking me because there's a certain level of trust that Herbal Results has built throughout the years, but I also want you to trust yourself. So the whole thing is for you to be empowered and to learn the methodology of healing. And when you learn this methodology, you can't unlearn it, right? And you become a beacon of light to people in your family and your community. And that's what we want to do, right? I don't want to hoard the information and be your guru, your personal guru. I just want to show you how I got the answers that I have and the results that I have, and then we can move forward from there. Okay.
All right, brother. You know everybody want to know, is that going to be a virtual event? You may have already answered that.
Well, from what I get from the promoters, no, they are not making it a virtual event. However, I can find out and ask them today if they've changed their mind. I know that they're getting hit up for that a lot as well. But it's always up to the promoters what they want to do with the event, right? So right now it's just like you got to be there live in London. But if they do have a link, an online link, I will let people know sometime before Saturday. Certainly, you can hit us up at info@herbalresults.net. You can also go to my social media, my X or my Facebook, and you can inbox me, or maybe I'll have another flyer up with the link, the online link. So that's a little housekeeping for month, because we skipped Monday's show, the health show. But I know a lot of people were interested, and a lot of people have been contacting me from England, and even some people from France who said that they're going to come to the lecture. So they said it's easy for them to get from France to England, so they're going to come to the lecture. So, I look forward to seeing you all there. I will be in England on, I'll be there Friday morning, and you'll be happy to see the London family. I do have some family members who are in England who I've actually never met, and I'll be meeting them for the first, like blood family members. So, we are going to have a good time in England. It'll be a reunion of some sorts, and I have some old time people that I've known online that I've never met. So it'll be good to actually meet people face to face, man. So we expect that it should be good. So let's get into this money. Y'all ready to get into this money, Red Pill, Brother Anthony?
Is a fish swimming? A bird flying?
All right, let's get into
Of course,
this.
brother. Let's get into it.
All right, so there's 2 points of care here. Last week, we went over the fact that out of the top 10 economies, fastest growing economies in the world, 8 of them are African, 7 are on the African continent, and 1 is an African dominant country in South America called Guyana. Guyana is really interesting because I was born in Ghana, and people have always confused Ghana with Guyana since I've been a child, right? So I feel like I'm honorary Guyanese anyway, and I love the roti from Guyana anyway. So, you know what I mean? I prefer Guyanese roti as my preferred roti. So big up to all the people in Guyana. So we've got Guyana, and then we've got a string of, I think, 7 African countries that are the top 10 fastest growing economies in the world. So what does that mean to someone who's an investor? To tell someone who's an investor the top growing economies in the world, and they're in a certain continent, that investor, when that investor gets that information, that investor smiles, because they understand what a growing economy means, that you're having businesses that in industries that are really on the runway, and you're able to catch them before they are in escape velocity. That's what identifying the fastest growing economies means. So within the fastest growing economies, that means that you're going to find companies that are overperforming in terms of stock price growth. And we were able to do just that. Okay. And what we're doing is we're using AI to identify a lot of this information, and we're using it seamlessly. So you've seen me use Grok and ask Grok these questions. And then we find out that there is a Robinhood-like app or website online called mystocks.africa. And I told you all last week that I was going to, sign up for the site, register. So I did all of that after we got off last week. And literally this morning, they just approved my account. Okay. So when they approved my account, what did I do? I went and bought the best performing stock for the year, which is a Ghanaian stock called Clydestone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you all what this looks like. Let's just we're going to go to Clydestone real quick, and then we'll get into some of these American stocks as well, which the stock market hasn't opened yet. It will be open very soon, and I want to share with you all my approach. Okay, so we're going to share this right now. Clydestone is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So look, y'all, we've got SanDisk, which is really the top performing AI stock of the year, which is doing about 4,000%. You all remember that, right?
Oh yeah.
And we also identified Clydestone Ghana, which is doing 4,000%. Yeah, Twyla saying, big up Twyla. Twyla's on it. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I don't know if it's Twila or Twyla. Twyla said they just approved me too. That means that she's listening and following instructions.
Right.
She's doing exactly. This is the beauty of this, is that you all are watching this happen in real time. Like everything I'm telling you all that I'm doing, you all have the opportunity to just follow what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this is free. You all are getting all this information for free
Right.
every Wednesday morning. So Twyla just followed what I was doing. She did her, information where they want to see your passport and all, just like they do on other sites where you're dealing, just like Robinhood, right? They just want to make sure you are you. Kai Wilson says she's in. You see, there's certain people that we know ain't playing no games. I know Kai Wilson's one of them.
Right.
Oh, Tanisha Thomas ain't playing either. Where the brothers at? All the sisters are lapping us. Not that it's competitive, but all the sisters like, I'm in.
All right, brother. I represent the brothers, my brother.
Okay, good. You in too? Okay, good. So, all right. Nat Negus Cole, big up Nat Negus Cole. He's one of my subscribers at Heru Trades. Good brother, doing great investment work and very knowledgeable. He sends me some tips sometimes online. Big up. And he said he got to get on that myafrica.stocks with. Yeah, because I'm about to show y'all something else. Y'all are gonna laugh when you see it. Yeah, I mean, it's just about getting action, man. It's about who wants to get action. And Kai Wilson got action. Twyla got action. Brother Anthony Muhammad got action. Tanisha Thomas got action. So there's a lot of people getting action. And like what I'm saying, like if you didn't tune in, you would have never known about this opportunity. Now, why is this important? Here's why it's important. Brother Anthony got disconnected, but we can get you back on, Anthony. Just tap right back in, Anthony, and we'll get you right back in. And hopefully Sankofa listeners, I know Sankofa listeners online on Facebook and YouTube are just fine, but I think they're probably not able to hear this on the Sankofa radio station because Brother Anthony's not on. I do not want the Sankofa radio listeners to miss this, what I'm about to show you all, because I know the Sankofa radio listeners, they're the ones hitting me up all the time saying, how can we invest in Africa? How can we invest in Africa? So it's a very special group of people that I want to make sure get attention. And that's the Sankofa Revolutionary Radio listeners. I mean, they've been hitting me up all this time asking me about, hey, Heru, when you go to Africa, can you take us with you and come do a tour? And I'm looking for business opportunities on the continent. And that's the Sankofa Revolutionary Radio listeners. And so I want to make sure that they get this information before I move forward. But I also don't want to slow down the show. Let's just see if Brother Anthony's going to tap right back in, because it's a very special audience. Listen worldwide, but there's a lot of audience listeners in the States who are looking to get some action on the continent. And I want to make sure that group does not miss this. So let me just give Brother Anthony a quick call. Oh, he's back. Brother Anthony, you're back.
Go ahead. We're
all right.
ready.
Well, I waited for you. It was disconnected, and I waited for you, and I said very especially that I know that if you're not on, it's possible that through your website, Sankofa Revolutionary Radio website, that the listeners might not be able to hear. I know they can hear it on Facebook, on YouTube, but I know that a lot of people are used to tuning in on the website. And I wanted to make sure that your audience particularly gets this message, because that's the audience that's been hitting me up for the last year on how can I invest in Africa? Give me some opportunities in Africa. Show me opportunities in Africa. Because I know your audience don't play about Africa.
Right
So
on.
I want to make sure that, you know, this audience doesn't miss what I'm about to give, because I know that your audience is just really, really serious about investing on the continent. And there's conversations we had about Burkina Faso, and I'm about to show how people can start investing in some of these countries directly in terms of infrastructure projects and what the yield looks like. And some of you all are going to be very happy with this information. And this is mystocks.africa. Okay. So, all right. So check this out, y'all. So we've got mystocks.africa. Big up to the people who already registered and have been approved. So check this out. This is Clydestone. Can you see this?
Yep.
Okay.
Clydestone.
Glidestone right now is trading at 29 cents a share, US dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Check this out. All right. Check this out. So it's trading at 29 cents a share right now. You see it?
Yep.
29. Okay. If you look at its performance in the last day, you'd have gotten a 10% return. 5 days, 15%. 1 month, 66%. 6 months, 7x, which is 639%. 1 year, 4,150%, which is about 42x your money. So if you put $10,000 in, you'd have $420,000. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Where have we seen this before? I've only seen this with one other company, and that's on the US side. And this is SanDisk. Okay? But check out SanDisk. So I'm about to share SanDisk. You see this right here? See SanDisk?
Yeah, we got SanDisk.
All right. So we go to SanDisk. Let me make this a little smaller. All right. When we go to SanDisk, we see that the 1 year for SanDisk. I want y'all to check this out. The 1 year for SanDisk is 3,300. So actually, Clydestone is performing better than SanDisk, but both of them have a crazy performance, which is 34,000. This is 3,400, which is a 34x or 35x. Okay, we already see that Clydestone is at a 40-something x. So Clydestone is actually outperforming. But what do you notice though? SanDisk is $1,600 per share, right? However, Clydestone is 29 cents per share. Which company has more upside in terms of just if you look at pure math, right? Other words, if we're looking for something to 10x, what's more likely? SanDisk, what SanDisk price right now is $1,600 per share. So SanDisk would have to go to 16,000 for us to 10x from today. However, this Clydestone to 10x just needs to go to $2.90. What is more seen in the stock market? Something going from 1,600 per share to 16,000 per share, or something going from 29 cents per share to $2.90 per share? The latter. It's more likely that you're going to see a 10x with Clydestone just based on numbers than you will with SanDisk, even though they're both doing ridiculous growth. Okay? So check this out. I just got approval. And so I did just a sample buy. I'm going to be buying more, but I did a sample buy of $20. And how did I fund my account? I did it. There's two ways to fund your account. So you're able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Everyone sees that in the last year, you got 4,100% with Clydestone. Okay. So the question becomes, well, once I get approved, how do I do it? Well, you go live. That's the first thing you do is you have to click live. Instead of demo, you go live. Once you get approved, you go live. And then you got to go to wallet. Okay?
Yep.
Wallet is going to let you add funds. And there's two ways to add funds. You're going to either add funds through a bank, or you're going to add funds through crypto. Okay? And so I have crypto, and the crypto is immediate. The bank transfer takes 1 to 3 days. Do you see that where it says 1 to 3 days?
Yep.
I don't want to wait 1 to 3 days. Okay? And there's no fees in doing this transfer. You see how it's free? But I don't want to wait 1 to 3 days. So what did I do? I was able to use what they call a stable coin, which is USDC or USDT. Okay? And basically I went into my wallet of my personal wallet that holds my crypto, and all I did was take a picture, and I made sure that it was in the right network. So you're going to use the Ethereum network if you're doing USDT. No, if you're going to do USDC, USDT, you can use the Ethereum network, or you can use the Tron network. And I can tell you all right now, the Tron network for USDT is more expensive in terms of doing this allocation. Okay, I'll give you real numbers. So for transferring my money using the Tron network for $20, it cost me $4. That's egregious. That's 20% on my money. Okay, that's egregious. However, I sent another $20 using this network, which is the Ethereum network. You see ERC20, that's Ethereum, and it cost me 60 cents to send the same $20, okay? So you want to use the Ethereum network for USDC or USDT to send your money to, and you're going to use, you can go through Coinbase, you can go through Kraken. I have a Kraken account, or you can go to crypto.com where you can transfer your US dollars to the stable coin, which is a one-to-one transfer, which means like if you want to get $10 worth of USDC or USDT, that's the same as $10 US dollars. Okay, it's one-to-one. It's just a stable coin that they use in the crypto world, which is actually a solution really for a lot of African transactions or international transactions where you might have monetary depreciation through arbitrage or through, foreign currency being destabilized or whatever. So you use what is named a stable coin. It actually changes a lot in terms of doing business on the continent or in South America or whatever, because you can now rely on the stable coin instead of having the currency in the local currency that might get degraded with, a president of a country taking a loan from the IMF, which degrades your currency, right? They make your currency weaker whenever you take loans from IMF. And there's reasons behind that. We can talk about that another day in terms of like macroeconomics, but I've explained it before. I'm happy to do it again, but that'll be off topic for this right now. So you want to use the EVM network one, and then you want to go ahead and go to your wallet where you have stablecoin in the form of USDC or USDT, and you want to use the Ethereum network, and you'll just have your camera in your wallet take this, and it will send the money to your account. So I did $20 twice. So what you'll see is that I still have a $20 balance. I left a $20 balance so I can show you how I'm gonna buy another Clydestone stock. So I already bought, look at my portfolio. I've already purchased, as you'll see, I've already purchased a Clydestone already. And it tells me which one I have, which is this Clydestone right here. Filled, I bought it 29 cents per share. I now own how many shares? 66 shares of Clydestone. Okay. What I'm going to do now is we're going to go to Clydestone and I'm going to buy again. So I'm going to show you all how this is done in real time. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir. We're ready.
I have $20 again in my account. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit buy.
All right.
The market is open. I'm going to hit buy. And this may be the first time that probably anywhere in our community, Brother Anthony and Brother Phil, someone's seeing how you can buy stocks on the continent in real time.
Right.
I think this is probably historic, right?
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit buy. Hopefully, they say the market's open. Oh, number of shares. Let me get 65 shares. Okay. The 65 shares will come out to $19.36. I had $20 in my account. Of course, I'll be transferring more, but I want to do this as samples just to make sure that the system works. Okay. And it converts to the Ghanaian currency, which is 221 Ghana cedis, but it's $19 US dollars. So I'm getting 65 shares. Okay. Buy shares. Click that. Execute buy. Does it right? Yep, 65 shares. Price per share, 30 cents. Execute buy. Boom, order queued. It's pending settlement. It'll take a couple minutes, and you will see when I go to my portfolio, you'll see another 65 shares added to my. You see, it says invested $19.66. That was my previous purchase. Reserved, which is really the transaction is happening right now, is $19.36. So today I've invested $40 into Clydestone. Okay. And you see this is pending here. That's filled. So we're just going to wait for it to get filled. Once it gets filled, I will now be an owner of an explosive stock on the African continent, and everyone will be able to do this. All you do is start looking at what's performing and start doing some due diligence on those companies, and you can get into that growth as well. Now, we talked about investing in, let's go to dashboard. We talked about investing in countries. So here's what I had suggested and what a lot of people don't know. So let me go stop sharing so I can talk to the people live and direct. So listen, a lot of us who follow the world and travel, someone says it easy to DCA. Yeah, I mean, you can, I can actually search if you can do automatic buying, and you may be able to, but you can DCA yourself manually, like every week or every month, whenever you're comfortable, you can DCA into those stocks. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Peace to you as well. Look to Africa stocks. Is Clydestone trading at 30 cents? Yes, we went over that. Tranquil Moon. Use ETH on base for cheaper gas fees. Yes, that's exactly what I did. My gas fees were, which is basically your fees to transfer the currency from one wallet to the next, was a lot cheaper using Ethereum. Okay. So yeah, Tranquil Moon, you're absolutely correct, and I proved it this morning. Okay. Someone said the comments are covering the screen. Yeah, I'll take the comments off when it's not necessary. All right. Yeah, I'll take them off when it's not necessary. And Soul Reason says for sure. Yeah, I think, I don't think a lot of people have ever seen this before. And my good brother Henry Time is in the house. That's my brother from another mother. Big up Time. One of the greatest poets that I've ever encountered, man. So, Henry Time, big up, man. Peace and love to balance soul. All right. So what we're going to do is give you all a little primer. So listen very carefully, y'all. There's a lot of us who saw what's been happening with Burkina Faso in the development of that country. where Ibrahim Traore has pretty much taken over and is doing chapter 2 of Thomas Sankara activities, in terms of being a hero for our people and kicking out the French and taking a hard line on developing the country in a very serious way. Anyone who's not familiar with it, just do your due diligence and put in Burkina Faso 2026 development. And they've built more roads in the last year than previous governments built in the last 30 years. Okay. And it just shows you that leadership makes a difference. And I've done a whole series on like the difference that leadership makes. It's on my YouTube. We covered El Salvador with Nayib Bukele. I went to El Salvador when they made Bitcoin legal tender a few years ago. I flew down myself and with a lot of people. So, when I'm in the States, I'm in Florida, and a round trip ticket to El Salvador from Florida, from the West Palm Beach airport, or I flew from Fort Lauderdale maybe, was like $150 round trip. Like, it was insanely cheap to get to El Salvador. It's like a 2-hour flight, 2.5-hour flight. And I was shocked because I didn't realize that it was that cheap to get to El Salvador. I would have never gone to El Salvador if it wasn't for the Bitcoin thing, right? So I went to go look at them making Bitcoin legal tender, which means that you can pay your bills in Bitcoin, you can buy food in Bitcoin, you can pay taxes in Bitcoin, the government can give you refunds in Bitcoin, that type of thing. So they made Bitcoin legal tender where I literally booked my hotel room with Bitcoin. I paid for my taxi in Bitcoin. I paid for my food at Bitcoin Beach. There's a place called Bitcoin Beach, right? It's called El Zante. And I was there, and I paid for everything in Bitcoin. It was an amazing experience. And it was because they have a leader who actually reads and understands what's going on. Nayib Bukele, big up to Nayib Bukele, because I've seen firsthand the difference in leadership. So I've done series on leadership. I covered Nayib Bukele. I covered Yi Kuan Lu, or Yu Kuan Lee. I don't want to mess up this guy's name, man, because he's such an important person. Let me just make sure I got his name right. Lee Kuan. Hold on. I got his name. I always talk about him. I think it's Lee Kuan. But he's the founder of modern day Singapore, and he did all the work. Yeah, Lee Kuan Yew, that's his name. He's somebody that should be studied for those of us who are interested in like actually taking a country from a malaria infested swamp port city to what Singapore is now. Lee Kuan Yew. Okay. And then I evaluated some African leaders, the Botswana leader and also the Rwanda leader, how they would take their country from like dust to where it is now, from ashes to where it is now. And people should look at it. But now you have Ibrahim Traore, who's looking to do the same type of development for his country that Lee Kuan Yew did for Singapore. And as a matter of fact, Rwanda, they call that the Singapore of Africa. If you've never been there, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But it's a fabulous place to visit and to study, and to learn the good and the bad. But it's a good place to study. Singapore is a good place to study. Botswana is a good place to study. In terms of development in Botswana, I believe that like university education is free. And if you want to get university education and you're a Botswana citizen, the government will pay for your tuition in any country you go study. Right? This is forward thinking. You're investing in your people, right? And that's a whole different conversation. But what I brought up was that, and we have presented this through my brother from another mother, Dr. Obadele Kambon. He went to Burkina Faso last year. We gave a report on Sankofa Revolutionary Radio. That was a historic report where we presented a letter to the government to open up a diaspora treasury bills fund. And what we mean by that is that what you all may not realize is that the United States has treasury bills. So you have bonds, you have the bond market, you have the treasury bill market. The bond market is longer term investments, usually like 10 years, 5 to 10 years, which means that you can't get your money out for 5 to 10 years, but you get a certain amount of interest on your payment, right, in the bond market. And this money is used to develop the country. So you've heard of wartime bonds. So America will issue wartime bonds and has done that so that the general public or people in the world can buy American bonds, and America then ramps up its war infrastructure, right? Well, you also have like treasury bills, which is shorter term. You can have a 3-month treasury bill, 6-month, or 1 year. I prefer treasury bills because it's a shorter time to maturity, which means that you get your principal back in a shorter amount of time. In the bond market, that principal may be held for 5 to 10 years in terms of maturity. A lot of younger investors who are new to this are not trying to have their money tied up for 5 to 10 years, right? You want to be able to get your money out if you want. So anyway, without like severe penalties. You can't do that in long-term bond markets. However, the bond market and treasury bill market is what is used for infrastructural development projects. I want you all to listen carefully because some of you all are hearing this for the first time. And I want to explain this before I show you all the my stocks. And I'm just kind of racking my mind to figure out how deep I should go into this. I want to explain it to the audience thoroughly, but I don't want to spend 2 hours explaining it. But let's put it this way. When countries want to develop, they need cash. They need cash to build roads, to build schools, to build hospitals, to build sewer systems, water treatment plants. All of that is necessary to run a well-functioning society. The problem is with the African continent is that the European powers, and America included, so when I talk about European powers, I'm calling the American ruling class. Remember, America was just a colony of England, so it's part of that whole structure. You've got France, you've got Spain, Portugal, but they still have their tentacles in Africa. And what they did was they use Africa as a dollar store. Okay? So what they do is they go and get things in Africa for cheap, the raw materials, and then the raw materials are looted from Africa, reprocessed in European factories, and then sold to the world market. Okay? This is the business model that Europeans have been using against us for the last probably 1,000 years, let's call it, right? All right. And any black man who's a leader who says, like, we're not doing that anymore, tends to get assassinated, right? Whether you're in the United States or whether you're in Africa or the Caribbean, any black man who says, no, like, we want to develop the resources of our own land, we'll get some pushback, right? So what traditionally has happened, and this happens in South America too, this happens in the Caribbean. What will happen is that I become president of country X. And I say, yo, I really want to build the roads of this country so that we can have some real good commerce going on. It's easy to get goods from point A to point B. I want to build hospitals, and I want to build a sewage system and a waste management system. This requires capital. So traditionally, what a government will do is tax its citizens to get capital, right? So that's one way of raising money. But the problem is that if you're dealing with a place that's already developing, taxing your citizens is not going to work well because you already have like a low tax base, right? So the other way to raise money is to get loans in the international market, or the third way to raise money is for people to buy bonds or treasury bills. So these are the three ways that a government typically will raise money. There's another way that they raise money in these countries, which is from import duties. Okay, that means that every time that you're importing something, the government gets a cut or bills you for importing something in the country. And it's a poor way for government to raise money because what it does is it makes things more expensive for the local people because you've got not only shipping costs, but also the duties for things to actually clear customs to come into the country, right? It's repressive for developing countries, right? But what happens is that if people want cars and you don't make cars in your country, you have to import the cars. And so the way that they make money, like, so for instance, in Barbados, which is like, I love Barbados, but what I don't love about Barbados is, like, if you want to import a car to Barbados, it's 100% tariff. What do I mean by that? You buy a $30,000 Honda, you've got to pay another $30,000 for it to clear the port. You're paying twice. So every car you see driving down the road in Barbados, the person paid twice. They paid for the price of the car and another 100% for the tariff for it to come in. Do you see how people are getting, like, abused? It's a problem, but this is the way that they raise money. Governments raise money. So you hope that the money's not being stolen by some, like, foolish people who might have leadership for a couple of years. But if you have great leadership, at least they might take that money to help develop the country. Okay? So these are the four, and tariff is a tax basically, but these are the four types of revenue that a country can get: is taxes on income or sales or transactions. You can call that the duties too, or just a form of taxes. Borrowing money, or treasury bonds, treasury bills or bonds. Okay, so these are the ways that a country raises money. Well, traditionally, what will happen is that because you're already dealing with the population that might not be making a lot of money, you're not going to raise a lot of money taxing people, and then, like, it becomes a chokehold if you raise taxes more on poor people, right? Politically, it's not popular. And then if you want, you can go to what you call the private public markets, which is essentially the World Bank and IMF, and you beg them for a loan. Or you have treasury bills. Okay? Here's the problem. The problem is when countries borrow from the World Bank, which is run by the United States, and the IMF is run by Europe, there's a huge price to pay when you borrow money from robber barons, people who've been stealing from you in the first place, right? The interest rate is very high that you can't afford. And as a condition, they devalue your currency. They devalue your currency to make exports cheaper so that their businessmen in their country can flood your market at a cheaper rate. So here's the deal. They just devalue your currency. But what happens to you, it makes it cheaper for them, but what happens to you is it makes it more expensive for your people. Heru, give me an example. Here's the example. Say, for instance, and anybody who's, like, from the Caribbean or from Africa or from South America, you know this. Give you an example. And I saw this in Jamaica, but I don't even have to be country specific, right? Let's just say that I am a citizen of country X, and my government that I'm living in borrows money from the IMF. And let's just say before they borrowed the money, it was one of my dollars to, let's make it more realistic, $2 of my dollars to $1 US, right? So that was the exchange rate, 2 to 1. So it takes $2 of my dollars to get $1 US, right? But the politicians in my country decided that they want to borrow $100 million from the IMF to build roads. Okay? As a condition for the loan, of the $100 million loan, that they're going to charge me maybe 15, 20% interest. Listen to this. I have to devalue my currency. So it being 1 to 2 or 2 to 1, now it's 4 to 1. What does that mean? That means it now takes 4 of my dollars to buy $1 US. What does that mean on a practical level? That means that, okay, today's Wednesday. Let's say today's Wednesday, and the currency change is going to happen tomorrow in terms of the devaluation of my country's currency. Guess what happens? if that vehicle that I was going to buy from the United States or from wherever cost me $20,000 on Wednesday, $20,000 US, it still costs 20,000 US, but for me to access the $20,000 in US on Wednesday, I would have to pay 40,000 of my currency, right? On Thursday, I now have to pay 80,000 of my currency for the same car. But my wages haven't changed, which means now that you've stolen my time. Why am I saying stolen my time? Is because most people get paid hourly. So if I had to work 100 hours, let's just say I had to work 1,000 hours. Let's make it more realistic. And I was getting paid $20 per hour. I had to work 1,000 hours or 2,000 hours to come up with the 40,000 of my money to get that $20,000 car because it was 2-to-1. Now I have to work twice as long. Do you all understand what I'm saying? My wages haven't changed. I'm still getting paid $20 of my dollars, my country's dollars per hour on Wednesday. To buy that same car, it used to cost me 40,000 of my money, but tomorrow it's going to cost me 80,000 of my money. Okay? So which now I have to work 4,000 hours as opposed to 2,000 hours to be able to buy that car. You've just stolen my time. Let's just say that you were going to have your child go overseas for college, and that college tuition at Harvard is $20,000 a year. It used to be 40,000, right? Because it was 2-to-1 of my local currency to pay for my child to go to Harvard. Tomorrow, Harvard hasn't changed their tuition, but the currency relationship between my country's currency and the US dollar has changed from 2-to-1 to 4-to-1. So now that same tuition that was going to cost me 40,000 of my money is now going to cost me 80,000 of my money. I have to work twice as long to pay for my child's tuition overseas. This is time theft in a form of slavery. And this is what's been happening to countries over and over and over and over again. This is why countries have a hard time competing because of these economic policies. Now, from the money lender's point of view, do you understand how slick this is? When you devalued someone's currency, remember they were going to pay you 20%. They've actually now paid you more than 20% because you've devalued their currency. So now they're paying you double what it is. So on top of the 20%, you're getting double the currency that you were going to get regularly because you devalued the currency. Do you see how this game is working? Okay. You see that? How this game is working? And so it becomes a problem. And so one of the solutions is treasury bills. It turns out that these treasury bills pay a nice percentage. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all the percentages that these treasury bills pay. And there's one last thing I need to figure out before I get into these treasury bills, but I want you all to see this. So a treasury bill allows you to invest in the infrastructure development of whatever country you would like to invest in. So if you've got something for Burkina Faso and you really love what Ibrahim Traore is doing, on mystocks.africa, when these treasury bills are available, you can actually buy these treasury bills, so in these bonds. So let me give you an example. So I'm looking at this right now, and let's look at the bonds market. It tells you switch to private, portfolio, watch list, wallet, transactions. Let's go. We're live. Let's go to, that's the dashboard. What I want to do is I want to check out, let's see, bonds. Okay, so this is the bonds market. So you see you have bonds here. So these are the bonds. So these are the bonds that are available right now. So you can get bonds in South Africa, Nigerian, Ghana Stock Exchange bonds, and then also for the Francophone countries, bonds here. Okay, so when you click it, this is the return that you're looking at. So let's look at Nigerian Stock Exchange. Okay, they're giving you 12.5% on this bond here. Now, if you're getting something like 7-8% in a mutual fund in America, you're supposed to celebrate. But you literally have a guaranteed bond with you investing in the infrastructure of building Nigeria, and they're going to pay you 12.5%. You see this right here, APY yield? They're going to pay you 12.5%, but your money will be held till 2035. So I don't favor this. It's too long term. But every 6 months, they're going to pay you 6.25%, which is 12.5 for the year. So if you put $10,000 in here, every year you're going to get $1,250, which is $625 every 6 months. And it's going to go on until 2035. So it becomes a form of income for people. And then at the end of it, you get your principal back. Okay? Here's the thing. I don't really like long-term bonds. I don't want my money to be held for 10 years in anything that I don't have the opportunity to liquidate whenever I want. Because who knows what happens? You might find a better opportunity. You might have an opportunity, someone might say, man, Heru, I'll give you 100 acres for $20,000. And I might want to access that money and get 100 acres to, put up a mango orchard somewhere, in the world. And it's like, I need to be liquid. So I don't like to be locked off of my liquidity. That's why I don't like real estate per se as an investment to just buy and hold and then have tenants. If I do real estate, I'm usually probably going to do farming because I need to start monetizing. And farming is a lot better than having tenants complaining to you that the toilets don't flush and stuff like that. That's just me. And I don't want to evict anybody. Like a single mother, she loses her job and now I got to evict her. I don't want to do that. So if I do real estate, I want to do like farming basically and processing farm goods into like powder or flour or stuff like that. That would be something I would do in terms of real estate. But let's just say you need that cash right now. You can't get it if it's tied up in a bond for 10 years. I don't like it. So here's the deal. You can go to mystocks.africa/Africa-bonds. And what it will do is it will give you all of the different bonds that are available continentally. And this also includes treasury bills. I told you all that I prefer treasury bills because treasury bills are usually 3 months, 6 months in a year. Bonds are much more long-term, and it'll tell you bonds and all of that. So here's one right now for South Africa. The maturity is 2030. That's too long for me. 2035 is too long. 2032. This is what's available right now, but it will tell you whenever something does pop up, right? So these are the 3 that are available right now. Everything else that says 0% yield, it means it's not available. Those that don't show up are not available. So what they're telling you is that if you want to invest in Nigeria, you can get 12.5% for the next every year until 2035. If you want to invest in Kenya infrastructure and development, you can get into this one right here, and you can get 11.5. And this is you doing nothing. And it tells you the minimum is $1,000. This is just you putting it in there, and you get 11.5%. You'll get a deposit of that money. It's almost like a dividend for a stock, basically. You just get this money, and it's every 6 months you get the money until 2032. And so those of us who are on our Marcus Garvey assignment, who want to develop our continent, this is a great opportunity to do it. Because what you're doing is that if you buy bonds and treasury bills, and I hope that they'll get more treasury bills on here as opposed to bonds, because what happens is that Burkina Faso can literally, and they have a diaspora fund, and we told them, and here's the thing, in Burkina Faso, what they're calling the diaspora, they're talking about people from, it says Nigeria has the highest concentration of black millionaires and billionaires in the US. Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. And then here's the beautiful thing too, which I'll be doing today. You can actually, speaking of Nigerian billionaires, and we'll do something probably on Dangote. There's an IPO that you can now, you see how you had a SpaceX IPO? Well, Dangote is building oil refineries across Africa. And again, remember, they treated Africa as a dollar store. So they would just take our oil, go refine it in Europe or somewhere else, and then sell the oil back to us. Dangote said, no, we're going to refine the oil on the continent. And he has an IPO to do that. Okay. And his oil refinement facilities are incredible. I can even show you all right now. And this is a way that you become a worldly person and you don't lock down your money to just one jurisdiction. You know, because anything can happen at any time, and you want to be able to have diversity and flexibility of travel and accessing funds in different places in the world, man, and just get action. So I'm going to show you all the Dangote refinery and what it looks like. And he's building one, I think, in Kenya right now. I want you all to see some of this, just so you just like know what the vibes is and what's happening on the continent quietly under people's noses, where serious people are repositioning ourselves. So I wanted just you all to see the layout. Okay, this is probably some of it. This is what I'm talking about here. This is the only thing I really care about. Development, manufacturing, infrastructure development for our people worldwide. And Dangote has taken it upon himself to use his own money to do this. So here we are. This is Dangote right here, wearing the brown. But this is what the facility is looking like. Okay, this is very serious.
Up until this point, we still hadn't even entered the refinery proper. So after leaving the jetty, came the moment I had genuinely been waiting for the entire day. We're finally heading into the massive Dangote industrial complex itself. And honestly, I was excited, but at the same time, a little anxious, because what most people see online are only drone shots and area shots, but being physically here changes everything. You begin to understand the level of engineering, planning, and human effort behind this place. And somewhere inside this endless industrial city, you also begin to see a completely different side of Aliko Dangote. Not just wealth, but scale, vision, and obsession. The refinery alone sits on over 6,500 hectares of land here in Ibejuleki. So massive that it could fit thousands of football fields inside it. And the craziest part is the refinery is only one part of the entire ecosystem. Inside this place, you also have a massive fertilizer plant, a petrochemical complex, a captive power station generating its own electricity, hundreds of storage tanks, truck terminals, laboratories, residential quarters for senior staff, fire stations, medical centers, and thousands of Nigerian engineers, technicians, and workers keeping everything running daily. At some point, while driving through the facility, it honestly started feeling endless, more like a city built entirely for industry. And despite spending almost 24 hours here, we still couldn't cover everything. But throughout the entire tour, there was one moment in particular that genuinely shocked me. And trust me, you need to see it.
And look at all this infrastructural development for this oil refinery.
With 500 hectares of land adjacent the refinery, this facility alone produces about 3 million metric tons of granular urea every single year, making it the largest fertilizer plant in Africa and the second biggest anywhere in the world.
So this is the second biggest fertilizer plant in the world, okay? And because the fertilizer is a runoff from the refining, and also so is sulfur. So you're talking about multiple industries being developed through refineries, okay? And this is what we've always wanted. This is what we've always wanted. And all these other folks besides black folks there to do business, they're there in Africa.
And then the moment I've been waiting for finally arrived. We are heading into the laboratory, the very heart of the refinery operation, the place where the actual refining processes are monitored, tested, and controlled. But honestly, what impressed me the most wasn't even the machines, it was the people behind them. Because inside this highly sophisticated facility, a large percentage of the operations are being handled by young Nigerian-trained engineers. Many of them graduated with first-class and second-class upper degrees in chemistry and other related fields. And standing there, watching these young Nigerians operate one of the biggest industrial projects in the world was genuinely inspiring. And that moment, it stopped feeling like just a refinery tour. It started feeling like a glimpse into Africa's future. One moment that really stayed with me was when one of the young engineers took extra time and personally walked me through the entire refining process, patiently explaining how everything works behind the scenes. And honestly, that level of brilliance wasn't a coincidence. It was another reminder of the ingenuity and potential of Nigerian people when given the right environment to thrive.
All right, so you all can do your own due diligence and spend some time, research Aliko Dangote, how he became a billionaire. Most of the construction projects are done with his cement. He has a cement company. It's called Dangote Cement. I've used it for my own construction projects in Ghana, in Gambia. Dangote Cement is very well known. And this is the time when the adults are in the room now. You saw like the facilities. You see that this is no joke operation. And this is all I ever really cared about for us. Is because what you got to realize is that the best oil in the world is actually Nigerian crude oil. It's just that we needed to be able to refine it, but the colonial powers were basically taking the oil from us. Shell was in the company extracting oil and then refining it and selling it, and the Nigerian people and the people of West Africa were not getting any type of benefit from it. This is what was happening. And so Dangote, through his own money, it put up his own infrastructure for refining oil. He's now got a deal to do the same thing in Kenya, and he's looking to do it in Angola. So there are certain countries that are on the coast where there are huge oil deposits. And remember, the Straits of Hormuz is closed, y'all. This is an opportunity that is an opportunity of a lifetime for Africa to actually become the next big superpower. Okay. And by just refining and manufacturing what the Creator has given us below our feet on that continent. And I can tell you right now, I've done construction projects in Ghana. I can show you all pictures, man. I've done construction projects where we had to dig up the ground like maybe 20 feet deep because I was putting I was doing a water catchment project. I have pictures on Instagram. I might even show y'all if I can find it. But check this out. When we were digging up the ground at my aunt's house, because I was doing a construction project, because I opened up a construction company and started doing construction on water catchment, basically taking the rainfall and then depositing all the rainfall into an underground tank like a basement, and then having a pump and then using that for your water. This is what we do in the Virgin Islands. It's called a cistern. So I decided, let's do that in Africa. So I did it. But what I noticed is that when we dug up the ground, we had big mounds of soil. And in the daytime, around noon, the soil would just start sparkling and shining. I might even be able to show y'all some pictures. Like, I have the pictures here somewhere. I might be able to show y'all some pictures. But I started digging through, and it was just like precious metals. I'm not going to say whether it was gold or not. Remember, Ghana used to be called the Gold Coast, right? Because that's where the Europeans would get a lot of their gold from, because we just have gold. Like, I remember my father said when he was growing up, there was a river by his house. The kids used to play in it. They used to just reach in the river and just grab chunks of gold. Like my father, he was telling me this, like they just used to grab chunks of gold. And like the continent is so rich. Do we have not had an opportunity through colonialism, slavery, wars, CIA, COINTELPRO operations? We've not had an opportunity to develop ourselves globally to be a great representative of our people worldwide. Because when people see that you come from, whatever you want to call yourself, understand that the whole world looks at you when you're Black and they associate you with the continent that they think you come from. Just like when you see an Asian person. Remember, there was a time when China was not a superpower, when Chinese goods used to be seen as inferior. Oh, that's from China, that's going to break down. But now China is the standard for manufacturing. So when you see an Asian person, you attach them, whether they were born in San Francisco for the last 10 generations, whatever, you still attach them to their main country or their main continent. And based on how people feel about that continent, whether it's a superpower or it's underdeveloped, this is how they're going to look at you, right? So whether you want to attach yourself with the continent or not, understand that from your Black, you got skin like me, the whole world looks at you that way. And so the best thing Marcus Garvey figured out is that we have to develop our continent if we're going to develop ourselves worldwide and get the respect that we need to get. I'm not going to go into politics and identity politics with folks right now, but those who understand what I'm saying. And so the opportunity to invest in the infrastructural development of the continent is not only something that for some of us is a moral mandate, but also is something that will give you a great return on investment. As we talked about last week, based on some studies, the best place for return on investment right now is Africa. And we can get into that as well. You all can do your due diligence on that. Boris Kujo talked about it. There's other studies that have talked about, other investors who've talked about their best return on investment is actually investing in Africa. And the reason is because Africa is on the runway right now, getting ready to take off. And what Dangote is doing is everything that we ever wanted. And guess what? We have an opportunity to invest in a Dangote IPO. And this is it right here. And this is what it looks like. Carlos, welders. Yeah, I mean, we definitely need welders, man. And holler at me, like there's projects that I'm doing. And like my most favorite people to talk to in the last few years is Black engineers. That's who I want to talk to. Like engineers, that's who I love, because they're the ones who build everything. They're the ones who build your roads, your factories, your cars, your everything, engineers. So, and as a matter of fact, China is run by engineers. The ruling party of China, all the members are engineers. I believe that the leader, Xi, is a chemical engineer. And this is why China looks like the way it looks, and it's overtaking the United States in terms of power, because it's run by engineers. That's a whole different conversation. But it's for you to understand where the world is and where the world is going. But what my stocks.africa is allowing you all to do is just like how you want to get into SpaceX, you can get into the Dangote IPO. That's it right here. You can get in and you can put in a subscription amount, which I'll be doing, so that I will be able to get into this and get some shares before the IPO even happens. So they're allowing people worldwide to buy Dangote IPO stocks, which I will be doing and sitting on that for the next several years, because I know what he's doing. And we have some of the best crude oil on the continent. And for the first time, it's being refined properly, where we can compete with the rest of the world. And you see that there's problems in the Middle East. This is the great opportunity for Africa to rise while these folks are at war, while the Arabs and the white man are at war, or the Persians, which is including the Arabs too, because you have the Gulf states, but Iran, they're not Arabs, they're Persians. But as the Persians and the Arabs are fighting each other with the Europeans, remember, these were the orchestrators of the slave trade, in terms of the Arabic slave trade with our continent and the European slave trade with our continent. And they're at war with each other right now. And it's the perfect time for Africa to get its licks back economically, so we can become a strong force. And it is only done with investment in engineering. And we have the opportunity to invest. Now, in terms of these bonds, I'm going to show you all this. I'm just showing you all what I'm doing. So I will be applying for the Dangote. And you just put in the amount and you submit your interest, and they'll allocate for you. So I'll get it before the IPO even happens, y'all. So I'll be already in on it. Just like people were in on SpaceX before IPO, I'm going to be able to be in on Dangote before it IPOs. Okay, and I don't know what the IPO date is, but I'll look at that. But I want to get in early on this. This is definitely a 10x. Like, there's no way. This is just a 10x. So I'll be 10xing my money with Dangote all day, every day. I know what's going on, and so the opportunity is there, and so it's something for you all to look at. So that's how you do it. Now, I'm going to show you all this. Burkina Faso. Anytime I see treasury bonds available with Burkina Faso and some certain countries, I'm going to be getting into that as well, because recently they went around the IMF and they raised a lot of money through what they call in their diaspora fund, which is treasury bills. Okay, here it is. All right, you all should know this information, right? So check this out. Check this out, y'all. And it's been successful. And I believe that this will be the new model for us raising money worldwide, instead of going to the, so it's September. Okay, the IPO is in September. Great. Thank you, Lay RTP. Yes, it's in September. So that means that I'm going to be in already. And I'll be sitting in on shares at like whatever it is, like 2 cents a share. And I'm going to watch that thing climb up to $2. And that's my 100x, right? Like, that's 100x from 2 cents to $2. That's 100x. So if I put 1,000 in and it goes from 2 cents to $2, I just made $100,000, y'all. That's real. And as Mr. Ovary Massager says, set it and forget it. Exactly. Set it and forget it. And now you're getting your money from a different place than the place that you live. This is when you're really flexing, when you're getting money from different parts of the world, right? Just like, like, I don't want to just hustle on my block. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you want to hustle worldwide. I don't want to just hustle on my block. It's limited. The customer base is limited. I'm speaking to y'all in street terms now, right? I'm not trying to just hustle on my block. I want to be able to set up a toll booth on every block. You understand what I'm saying? I call it a toll booth. A toll booth is just a way that you collect and make money. Everyone has their own little toll booth, you know, but street side knowledge, you don't want to just hustle on your block, man. So I'm a hustle in Nigeria block. I'm hustling in Ghana's block. I'm hustling in Kenya. I'm wherever the action is, that's where I got to be. You understand what I'm saying? And so this is what's happening, y'all. Whether you want to be involved or not, please understand that Africa is on the rise. Right now, you know, you have like these cycles. So Africa was on the rise for thousands of years. That's how we built pyramids and all that. People used to come and study in Africa, and Pythagoras and all these people, and basically take our knowledge and develop their own societies and all of that. And then Africa gets overtaken by Europe. And then the Arabs take over too. And they have their run for a couple hundred years, right? And then Asia now is having its run, right? Where you see the development of China and Japan and all of that. And China is pretty much the world superpower at this point. And anyone who's been to China knows that, like, the United States is at least 10 years behind China when it comes to technology. And there's going to be another cycle where Africa's, and this is why China's doing so much business in Africa, because to be a manufacturing center of the world, they need raw materials. So they're cutting deals with Africa. But now Africa is going to be able to bring its own manufacturing on a continent where you don't need China. And based on supply chain logistics, when your factory is closest to your raw material, that's when you're able to give the world the best prices. Remember, they're taking raw material from Africa, shipping it to China, having it processed, and then they sell it to the world market. There's an expense with shipping. So what happens if you don't have to ship to the factory and your factory is right down the street from you because you're having factories in Africa? See, those of us who understand this, our minds are completely different. That's why we don't get into these arguments and these debates with people about identity politics, because our eyes are on the prize. Y'all can have these debates 100 years from now, but at the end of the day, who is going to industrialize Africa is the question. And whoever industrializes Africa will make the lion's share of money in perpetuity, because most of the raw materials that they use is in Africa. So if you have your manufacturing base next to your raw material, you win. Now you just have to be able to defend it, which we're going to work on, of course, right? And it's different. It becomes different now. The conversation becomes different. The talk and the negotiations become different. See, right now you can't talk and negotiate when you're not making your own things and you're importing everything. You're reliant on other people. But when Africa starts making its own things, the world changes overnight. Okay? And so the bottom line is, and it changes for all Black people worldwide. Whether you want to associate with Africa or not, the world looks at you different, and it's a hands-off approach, because now you're a superpower. You're associated with a continent that's a superpower. I'm talking about how the world looks at you, not how you want to look at yourself, because I know some of us got some identity things that we're dealing with and debating and arguing about all the time. And I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who like look in the mirror and like, you know, they rather be Kunta Kinte instead of Toby. Let's put it that way. They say, no, I'm Kunta. Like, that's the type of people I'm talking to. Okay. And I'm talking on the continent, worldwide, whatever. This is what it is. So those of us who understand opportunity understand that this is an opportunity of a lifetime. Okay. And mystocks.africa gives you at your fingertips. You just saw me buy stock with the Ghanaian company that's overperforming everybody. I'm there, set it and forget it. Okay. Now let's get to this story in Burkina Faso. People ask me about Burkina Faso, so check this out, because everyone's loving Ibrahim Traoré, how he's kicking out the French and how he's developing his country. Well, guess what? Instead of borrowing from the IMF, what do? Burkina Faso launches a $224 million diaspora bond to fund infrastructure. So basically, it's a bond, and it pays 6.8%. Okay, over 5 to 7 year maturity. So basically, you put in your money, and you get 6.8% every year on that for the next 5 years or 7 years. Okay, and then you get your money back after that. Okay, and they were successful. Burkina Faso, they raised the $224 million without the IMF, without the devaluation of their currency, and without putting their people into time slavery, which is what happens when you borrow from the IMF and the World Bank. We don't want to borrow money from these bankers, from these European and American bankers who are loan sharks. We're going to raise the money ourselves. So this is not even a GoFundMe. This is a Go Invest Me. So you're getting a return. You're not losing your money. You're getting a return, which is 6% every year, which is better than most of your 401ks are doing or your mutual funds are doing. So literally, if you want to make more money than your 401k and your mutual fund, you could actually put some money into something like a Burkina Faso fund and get your licks back and feel like you help them develop something, like in Solidarity. But it was successful, and they raised all the money without having to devalue their currency, which is like very, very important. You see all these news reports. Burkina Faso launches patriotic loan diaspora bonds. And this is the way you do it. We just need these diaspora bonds to be part of my Africa.stocks or my stocks.africa so that we can all get in on it. And we literally had a meeting through Dr. Abadale Kambon with Abibi Toumi to tell them, like, listen, we need an online platform because there's folks who want to put money into development of these countries, and they want to be able to do it anywhere they are in the world. And so that's a conversation that's taking place, and they actually did it. But a lot of times when they're talking about diaspora, they're talking about the Burkina Faso diaspora, not necessarily the Black diaspora. But I told them that if you made this available to the Black diaspora, you'd be able to raise this money within a week. Okay, because I get contacted all the time with people, man, I want to go to Burkina Faso. I want to see what's happening. I want to invest. I want to, and there's so much interest that it's an opportunity. So what would happen is, and what I'm hoping that will happen is that these bonds and these treasury bills become a referendum on African leadership, on Black leadership. So I don't care if you're the president of Jamaica, the prime minister of Barbados, president of Ghana, president of Nigeria. Based on how you're performing, we're going to vote worldwide. Like, if we love what you're doing, then we're going to invest in the development of the country because we know that you've managed funds correctly and you're actually helping build the country, and we're getting a return on our investment, right? It becomes a referendum every year on the best African leadership. And whoever's performing the best will get the windfall of the money from the diaspora worldwide to help develop the country. And that's it. And those who are squandering the money, you get nothing. Those who are wasting the money, you get nothing, right? But if you are actually, you're kicking out the oppressor, the downpressor, you're developing the land, you're building roads, you're building hospitals, you're building schools. I got 5 on it. I got 5 on it. Trust me, I got 5 on it. If you're a leader, because I've seen what Nayib Bukele did in El Salvador, and he's doing Bitcoin bonds. That's a whole different conversation. It's the same conversation, but he's raising money through Bitcoin bonds outside of the IMF, and the IMF is very mad at Nayib Bukele because these leaders are figuring out we ain't got to do business with people who've been exploiting us for the last 500 years. Why would we do that? We are going to put out bonds where people in the public can actually give us a vote of confidence with their dollars and they get a return on their investment. That's the way it has to be. So if you're a leader in anywhere of the world, we're talking Black folks right now, and you're performing well, please know that Heru wants to invest in your treasury bills because I know that I'm going to get a higher return than Bank of America is going to give me 0.01%, but I can get 6%, 7%, 12% off of Burkina Faso or Nigeria. That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. And it's different because I travel a lot. So like I be in Lagos, eating egusi in Lagos is different when you got Nigerian bonds. You understand what I'm saying? If you're an investor in a country, you now have a vested interest to see that country do well. So you invest in a country by buying bonds or treasury bills. So what I'm saying is that if I'm an investor in treasury bills in Nigeria, my relationship with Nigeria changes. I need Nigeria to succeed because when Nigeria wins, I win. And this is the type of relationship you're going to start having with each other, right? Because this is what unity is about, having skin in the game with each other, where my success is tied with your success is tied with my success. That's why myself, Red Pill, Brother Anthony, we united to get this information out to people and to expose our channel listeners to real content, because Red Pill success is my success. My success is Red Pill success. When we have these types of relationships with each other, man, the sky's the limit. There will be a certain sector of our people who will always go for division and always go for disunity. Put those to the side. They are a constant, just like E equals MC squared. C is the constant speed of light. You're always going to have detractors and people who don't want unity. It happened all throughout our history. Nat Turner got snitched on by people who didn't want black unity. Gabriel Prosser got snitched on by people who didn't want black unity. Kwame Nkrumah got overthrown by people who didn't want black unity. Boukman got snitched on by people who didn't want black unity. You understand what I'm saying? These people always exist. Leave them alone. There's no argument for them. They're fulfilling their historical mission. But then there's those of us who are about looking at this thing and saying that unity is the only way. Us being fractured only makes the enemy stronger. So what we're going to do is, out of spite, we're going to unify, and we're going to tie each other's success together with ourselves together. And the way you do it is with these treasury bills. And so I hope that there'll be more opportunities for treasury bills, which they say it just comes at certain times, man. It comes at certain times, right? In these certain times, you just look at mystocks.africa and you'll see when these treasury bills are available. And if you're giving me anything close to 10%, I got to put something in it. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I have a commitment to not hold cash. Cash is a depreciating asset. So I have enough cash at times to just pay bills. But after that, you know what I'm saying? It's about investing, because I want my money to grow and not depreciate in value. And that's what it is. And I'm finding different vehicles to do it. And as you see, every week we're giving you different vehicles. Okay. So it is 10:40 right now. We're going to close the show because I think I covered a lot. Next week, it's looking like some things are being set up for options. Those of you who are my subscribers on HeruTrades.com, there may be an options play that I do today. You'll get that notification for the subscribers. And we're going to then talk about the options that I did next week, Wednesday, to go over and analyze the option play that I'm going to do maybe today or tomorrow. Okay. So, you know, we've been on for over an hour and a half. I think that's enough. That's a lot of value. Salute to the people who did sign up for mystocks.africa. It's lit. You know, it's lit. You know, the dollar cost averaging, you know, the stocks on Robinhood that I'm dollar cost averaging. That's Micron, that's SanDisk, that's Seagate, that, you know, I named them all. And then I just showed you Clydestone. Okay. So that's where we're at. This is what we're doing. Okay. I actually have somebody at my door, Brother Red Pill. Please, you can close us out. And I just have to tend to someone at my door. But if you got something to say to the audience in terms of what you're doing with Git, go ahead and share that information, Red Pill. Oh, I guess Red Pill didn't come on, y'all. I just had to answer my door. I had someone at my door. So hopefully this was good for y'all, man. Red Pill, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah, I left for a second and asked you to come talk about any comments you have and what you're doing with Git.
Oh, yes,
Yeah, please do that.
Family, we have a powerful Git build workshop beginning today on Wednesday at 8 p.m. This is a continuation from the workshop that we started called Get Money. And what Get Money was is it was a collaboration that I did with a brother who's an engineer. His name is Hitsayu Aku. And what he was teaching us was the intricacies of a site called GitHub. A lot of people may not be familiar with GitHub. However, if you are anywhere near, if you're even touching on the border of technology, you are familiar with GitHub. It's the home of repositories, open source code, and it's really just a digital office in so many words. You know what I mean? GitHub has about 3 or 4 layers to it. So we spent about 30 days learning about Git Money. Now it's time to take the repositories and implement Git Build. And then after this 30-day workshop, Git Invest is our next endeavor, which is going to coincide with the Invest Fest. Because what we've noticed and what we've realized is that we now could build out these repos, especially with Fable 5, the new technology that Anthropic just released. It is it could do a one-shot prompt. You could do a one-shot prompt, meaning that you could actually build a website or a mobile app with one prompt, right? It's going to take a few hours and that prompt has to be detailed. You need to have like you need to upload a PDF of, you know, all of the instructions and everything like that. But we're dealing with some very powerful technology, ladies and gentlemen. It is of no surprise that the U.S. government pulled those products off of the shelf, because when you really think about it, and especially now that we're talking about the stock market and everything, these are major disruptor tools that could potentially collapse Fortune 500 companies. They could disrupt it, not overnight, because, you know, in order to pull, you know, a $1 billion or $1 million company off of the to disrupt it, you're gonna have to build up that app, or you're gonna have to build up that technology. But it's happening. It is definitely happening. There are creators out there on X / Twitter. Every day I'm seeing mind-blowing examples of what people are utilizing this technology for. So ultimately, the vision is to, you know, we want to entice, and we want our network. I'm not so, you know, I can't really speak for the rest of the world. I'm really speaking to our network because I want our network to prosper in this boom that we're in before the crash. And we would fare better if we work collectively versus individually. I don't think AI from an individual stance is something that is going to benefit the whole. It could definitely take one person into the heights. Like, you could show off and be a builder, you know, you can show off and be a founder, but it's going to look better if about 50 to 100 of us work on a project together, knock it out, create some very viable solutions, become very attractive to investors, and also grants as well. We're able to capture grants similar to what, you know, the Elon Musk of the world. They're living off of grant money. They have federal contracts, things of that nature. But we have too many geniuses amongst us. We have too many people who were in corporate America who gave a lot of years and whatnot of their life. They have organizational structure. They know corporate language. They know how the corporate structure is. They know boardrooms. You know, all of these things, you can apply that to the technology. You can apply that to agentic AI. You could build up a 100-man organization, and it could be all agents, you know, working in your behalf, working in our favor, working towards solutions. Let's not even get into the trading bots and how they're doing and whatnot. So yeah, we have opportunities, y'all, and we're gonna take this and we're gonna run with it. We're not looking back. We're not asking for approval. We're not quote unquote. We're not doing anything of the sorts. We are moving, right? Kinetic knowledge is what's moving us. And I do want to announce August 1st, August 2nd, August the 3rd, 72 Claws in New York City. We are going to be in New York, New York. All right. And I'll keep everybody updated with that. We just made that announcement yesterday. I'm going to drop the link in the chat so you could sign up to our program. This workshop is exclusive for only the top members of the Patreon. It will, you'll have your opportunity to be a part of it. But this is a standalone. This is going to be a workshop that's basically a standalone. I'll drop the link in the chat so everybody could get the opportunity to be with us. All right. Yes, sir. And also the good brother Hitsayu Aku will be returning for this, along with a brother Ampu. All right. Will be the ones who will be teaching this workshop.
Excellent.
Yes, yes.
Great. So how can people get a link for that?
I'm about to drop it in the chat right now.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We just waited for it to be dropped in the chat so people can avail themselves of this opportunity.
Oh, for sure. When you really think about it, Brother Heru, this is literally how someone can sit back in the comfort of their home office while working, a 9 to 5, while basically, grinding and whatnot. This is the opportunity for anyone. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if you're a beginner. It doesn't matter if you have a little bit of knowledge of this, of AI. It has become so user friendly at the end of the day. And the way that we teach, we are able to help anyone who's coming into this find a niche, because there's riches inside of niches, right? We want to find a niche and we want to basically find a repo, right? Which is like a white label of a company. Okay. Think about white labels. Think about companies that are offering white labels. You could put your name to this to this white label. You could put your you could customize it to make it work for you. And then boom, you this is the beginning stages of you building out an entire business. And then GitHub is your digital office where you store all of your receipts, your commits, your pulls, everything is there. So when investors come, they have something to look at. There's such a debilitating feeling if you get into a meeting with these $1 million investors and they're going to ask you, where's your GitHub? Where's your proof of work? Where's these things? And you don't even know what they're talking about. So we're here getting dressed for the party, ladies and gentlemen. This is a grown man's game. Okay. AI business side, grown man's game. You just can't come in it because you feel like it. You have to be dressed for the party. There's certain things that you need to know. And this is what we're teaching for the next 30 days. It starts today at 8 p.m. only on Zoom. We look forward to seeing y'all in the building. And I don't want to keep rambling or keep moving, but for those who want to participate in a daily opportunity, we also have our school community, and we have something called summer school. And inside of summer school, for about 2 hours, maybe 3 to 4 hours a day, we get together and we basically build in real time. You know what I mean? So we'll open up we'll do a live stream, and some of the KTLians, our students, they'll get up there. They're showing off video games that they're making, websites that they built, solutions, all of the things that are coming with really just using this AI every day, using the AI to our benefit, not just watching, not just thinking about it, but doing it. So we're doers now. We are literally in the phase of doing. So shout out to my KTLians. Yes, man. Sister Lakeisha she is turning into a prodigy right before our eyes, man. She is really doing her damn thing. I'm so proud of her, man. I promise you. I am so proud. She every time she unmutes her mic when we're inside of summer school, I know we're about to hear something mind blowing. So salute to her, salute to Rob, you know what I'm saying? Dre, everybody that's doing a thing. Green Gaia, so many names of people who are showing up and showing the world that this thing is doable, right? Regardless if you have a job, regardless if you came into this thing as a beginner, it does not matter because we are some wonderful teachers. I have some great teachers amongst us, experts, and they will walk you through it.
Someone's asking how much does the summer school cost?
Summer school is it starts at I think $16 or $17 a month. The membership on school, we made it super duper affordable. Get Built is the workshop, so that's a different price point. But summer school, we'll open that up to the family. All you have to do is subscribe to our school. It's like very, very affordable, very affordable. I'll drop the link for that and whatnot. So yeah, we look forward to seeing y'all. This is the Imaginarium school community. I think it's about 215 or 16 of us. So we're building it up, you know what I mean? But everybody treats, we all work together. Everybody is working with one another. And yeah, and I give students the opportunity to get on the stage as teachers in school to teach. You know what I mean? It's not about me. This is about shining the light on all of us because, like I said, AI is a collective thing. It's not an individual thing. We all are shining and we have to highlight one another, shine the lights. If you're in the audience and you're like a tech dude, a dev, a coder, a programmer, a creator, a visionary, I need you over here. I need you over here because what we're about to do is we're about to pitch to the colleges and we're about to pitch for these grants and whatnot. And what they're going to be looking at, they're not looking at me, they're looking at the students. They're going to say, okay, show us what the students have been able to do over the past few months. Because anybody could say that they're teaching, they want to see what the proof of work is. How have I turned students into teachers? So yeah, are there age restrictions? No, not at all. From 8 to 80 is what we're accepting. No age restrictions.
Excellent.
Teenagers can learn, young adults can learn, and children can also learn too. We have a way to break everything down and explain it to a 10-year-old by using the LLMs, by using the chat and everything. So we make it doable for everybody.
Excellent.
Yes,
Excellent.
yes.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna sign out on Monday. This Monday show, I'll be broadcasting live from London, England.
Yes,
And
sir.
we'll probably have some testimonials. So get ready for some people with some British accents coming on here.
And there'll be the FIFA Bowl on Monday with the British family.
Yeah. So we're expecting about 10 folks coming, 10 or more coming with some cancer reversal testimonials. So I'm trying to get one or two of them to call into the show on Monday and for them to tell their story. And we'll be recording a lot of footage as well from the lecture. And I'll be taking calls on Monday for anyone with any health issues. Just tune in on Monday. And then next week, we'll be going over probably some of these options plays that I'm going to do this week. So we covered Africa. Today, we covered macroeconomics and the IMF and World Bank and what that looks like and what the opportunities are and what the numbers look like. If you got in late, just rewind the tape, and we'll be back on Monday discussing health results. Myself, Red Pill, Know the Ledge family, Know the Ledger family, and Sankofa Revolutionary Radio with Brother Anthony Muhammad. Hope this broadcast has been helpful to y'all.
Yes,
Hopefully it has given you tangible steps to step up your wealth creation and that it has been useful. thank you all, and we will be with you on Monday. Bless up, Brother Red Pill and family.
Bless up.
Yeah, man.
Peace to the family. Salute.
Right.
See y'all later tonight inside of the workshop. Peace.
Peace.